we're going to learn about feeding a baby parrot. He's a lifetime companion, and while baby parrots are so much like human children, they're much easier and less expensive. But my credentials in hand feeding parrots are, I've been breeding and hand raising since 1992, and I have a certified avian specialist certification as well as my professional aviculturist certification since 2007 when they initially started these certifications. My expert opinions today are based on Michael Franz and Susan Chamberlain, as well as Diane Grindle. Hand-feeding baby parrots produce tame and socialized lifetime pets, and so as we go, we're going to gather our feeding equipment and prepare the formula and provide bonding time during this feeding process. Hand feeding does require equipment, and Michael Franz recommends that we gather our tools and use pipettes and graduate on up to the feeding spoon. Now, the pipettes start as they are day one babies with a 1 cc, and they end up being fed every 2 to 3 hours. As they grow over the next couple of 3 weeks, we graduate to a 3 cc pipette. We use these pipettes because we have better control with the fluid going into the baby's mouth. Then we graduate on up with our larger babies, such as macaws and cockatoos, so that we can get more in there at one time to a syringe, and then finally we go to the spoon within the last 2 to 3 weeks of their weaning period. As we're gathering up, we also have to be able to store our supplies and disinfect them. And Diane Grindle and Michael Franz also recommend that we use a Clorox disinfectant, which is a half cup to a gallon of water. This kills viruses and bacteria such as mycoplasmas and chlamydia. Our hand feeding formulas are commercial formulas, and the ingredients is the formula and water. Now you have to be real careful with your temperature in this because you can burn the baby. So our temperature for the formula is 100 to 108 degrees depending on the species of the bird. Some like it a little cooler, some tolerate it or even insist on it being a little hotter. The texture of the formula is based on the age of the bird. The day one babies, when we're feeding with the very small little pipette, we have to have it very thin. It's like a broth. And as they get a little older, we thicken it up just slightly. By the time they get to the spoon, it's more like melted peanut butter, so that they're starting to get used to a more solid food. At that point, we start going into the weaning process and adding adult bird food and water into their containers or their cages. The bonding time for this that we have is after we finish feeding the babies, we sit with them and we do little hand games, playing with their beak, teaching them as they get more coordinated to step up, step down, and just basically cuddle them as you would a newborn baby. The dispensing of the hand feeding comes with weaning, and the weaning process also helps you introduce the adult bird food with the hand games. Again, you start giving it to him in his mouth, letting him bob and figure out that, oh gee, this tastes good. In conclusion, we know that there are risks for hand feeding, such as aspiration and our food temperature, but we know that we feed slowly and we watch our temperature and we won't have any problems there. The rewards outweigh by far the risk in that you have the lifelong companion. He's also a very intelligent companion, and you're looking at somewhere between 60 and 90 years for a large bird companion. I wish you well in your hand feeding experience. Thank you.